this week. I mean, this is not old news. This is fresh.
It's projected to keep going, but we will hit a wall sometime.
We will
right?
sometime.
I don't want to make it sound as if it's all rainbows all the time. We will hit a wall at some point, simply because we run out of energy at some point. We're power constrained.
Do not sell in May is the takeaway.
I love the Wolf comment today. Wolf
Can earnings drive stocks higher? Can it?
Extended,
Yeah,
overhyped,
of course it can.
You name it. But trying to fade this type of powerful momentum has been extremely.
Of course it can.
And therein lies the best point. Don't try to fade this. I mean, we can talk about valuations, earnings growth rates. We can talk about where this peaks and everything. But just
of course it can.
Market for these stocks, they are going higher. Now, look, I'm an analytical fellow. Everybody knows that. I like to use numbers, but sometimes I'm just telling you the sentiment of this market. And to your first question, Scott, of should we be buying in May, the answer is yes.
Yeah, but when you say they are going higher, so those gains that I read you in the semi space. I mean, that's a big statement to just say, just out of hand. They're just going higher.
Okay. So I also
up a lot, right? I mean,
look,
they certainly are, if nothing else, at risk of something pulling back in May. I mean, I think people are bullish on the chips, but let's get real. I mean, these stocks 60 and 70% in a single month. And I get momentum in all of that. But at some point, momentum runs out of gas, or at least you need to take a prolonged sit down before you get up and run again.
You can pick so many stocks right now where I see attractive entry prices.
Okay, you tell me which one.
NVIDIA.
You tell me.
Right now, NVIDIA. I mean, just go with the biggest, the best chip company in the world, the thing that drives the markets overall. Why make it harder than this? It just set a record.
Yeah, NVIDIA. I agree. I agree with him. I'm thinking NVIDIA, baby.
It's right in front of your
NVIDIA, no joke.
To that point, what we heard from Alphabet as
I agree. I don't think it's over. It's NVIDIA.
Amazon, as it relates to Trainium, kind of flies in the face of NVIDIA being the stock to buy.
Alphabet, Class A, Google.
Once they cross the 200 mark, they're supposed to go parabolic again from there. I'm not a technician. I'm not going to sit here and play one on TV. But I don't think that you can say as confidently now as maybe you could have before this earnings period that NVIDIA is going to have the same level of demand that they once had.
Because of competition.
Because of competition.
I mean, I hear you. Your point is well made. I simply say that the demand is just outstripping the competition.
So the point of discussion here is, will NVIDIA continue to run? Why not? Yeah, it's got competition.
It continues to show demand for its TPUs, and Amazon for its Trainium, and AMD and Broadcom. Haven't even mentioned Broadcom once so far. The demand is simply stellar.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see what Kramer's got to say.
The most difficult week of earnings season with flying colors. All the big techs did well, save Meta. Everything connected with the data center went bonkers, and the rest went either, which is how we got through another solid session. Dow dipped 153 points, but S&P gained 0.29%, and the Nasdaq jumped an astonishing 0.89%. Wow, incredible! It doesn't mean we're out of the woods, though. You know that. And this coming week is actually a little more eclectic, jam-packed on some days, and frankly more prone to disappointment.
So this is the earnings calendar coming up. If you look, so we've got Saturday. We got Tuesday will be fun.
Will be in Omaha to introduce us formally to Greg Abel. He's the successor to Warren Buffett. Of course, no trip to Berkshire is complete without some wisdom from the Oracle himself. I know I'm going to be tuning in. What are you doing? And how exactly
I don't know.
We'll find out Saturday when the company actually reports.
Berkshire Hathaway. Don't miss CBS coverage of Berkshire Hathaway. Okay.
Premium thanks to his retirement. That could be very short-sighted. The company built tremendous properties, super stocks in that portfolio. On Monday, please tune in to me for a special Mad Money from
Guys, I always tell you, well, you know, when it comes to, I think Jim Cramer gives a lot of good advice as far as what companies are out there. And you can just kind of look at what these companies are, check out when the earnings are, and then play it from there. Software as a service, SaaS, very important to, excuse me.
I don't think even a fiery Alex Karp can change stock direction, although it was up nicely with some of the other software companies today. I wouldn't trade it, as I think Palantir is an It's just an excellent book of business. A lot of satisfied customers. I would own it. The semis are on fire of late, including On Semi, long viewed as a company that's tied just to the auto industry. Some would say too tied. But so is NXP Semiconductors. And did you see that? That stock went parabolic after reported this week. That would cut to buying some On Semi, I would think. Now, we have an analyst meeting Monday for ServiceNow, okay? A stock that's been hammered relentlessly because of the AI displacement worries that have dragged down the entire software as a service space. These companies typically charge per user, and that perception is that AI is wiping out too many jobs for that business model to remain viable. I want to hear if customers are cutting the length of the contracts they've taken in preparation for AI agents reaching the point where they can take over from people and possibly do a better job in ServiceNow. The software as a service group caught fire today, though. Maybe that bodes well for ServiceNow. I'm sure Bill McDermott will put on a good show. He's the CEO, and he's a very good promoter of his company. Tuesday Jam. We've got the dilemma of the data center identified by EAT, which provides electric hookups and air conditioners to keep things cool. We know the Travel Trust has had a big run. The ones that have big runs, they tend to sell off. I gotta be careful, all right? I want to monitor Shopify when it reports Tuesday because the Universal Fulfillment Company has a great read on small and medium-sized businesses. I always worry about them. This company is the chief e-commerce enabler for these smaller companies. Stock's been meandering of late. I think it's going to have good numbers. We'll have to find out, though. Hey, can Pfizer break out of this multi-year rut? Now, a lot depends on the presentation because I haven't seen any needle movers in the portfolio. Currently cheap, good yield, but if I want good yield, I'll buy a bond. You want an upside surprise? Okay, I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say it's going to come from AMD this week. And I'd buy some AMD ahead of the quarter. This shoe is the best. Oh, well, you know what? Let me give you two more. I would buy Lumentum. I would buy Arista Networks. Yeah, I'm not bullish on this day. Two companies that help the machines in the data center talk to each other. I placed my bet with Astera Labs, fabless semiconductor company that also does connectivity. And when people ask me what does Astera Labs do, I always say it goes up. There will be plenty of proselytizing when we can hear from Strategy. That used to be MicroStrategy, you know. The firm, we call it Mr. MSTR, that's the name of the symbol. The firm run by Michael Saylor is primarily just buys Bitcoin and nothing else. You know what I say? You want to own Bitcoin? Buy Bitcoin. On Wednesday, Disney reports, all right? And I think it's a microcosm of the higher-end travel market. As I see it, the consumer's holding strong, and the number could be a good one. Hey, maybe first start for new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. Represents the institution well. I might be on a roll here, and I want to place my bet by telling you that I think that CVS will give you a good quarter, too.
CVS, he's betting that CVS build off its 13% gain. CVS, okay. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to Walgreens or CVS, they seem to. What is this?
Renee Haas, you've seen him on, right? We know the world is short of he's a Las Vegas Raider fan. That's worrisome. We know we heard from Intel this week, and we'll hear from AMD when it reports next Tuesday. ARM designs the same kind of chips, the underlying architecture for most of these chips as CPUs. But what people don't realize, it's making CPUs itself. I think that could be a stock that romps. Went up big today and then had a reversal late in the day. Doesn't like that. Oh, here's a small one that I just care about because sometimes I have one of these and I'm up for 3 days. It's called Dutch Bros. It's been a serial upside surpriser. That said, if you want a coffee stock, people are telling me, Jim, you love the Starbucks. Why did you do it at Dutch Bros? But because they have a thing called the Annihilator. It's the best coffee I've ever had. And it even has coffee in it. We've got an important analyst meeting on Wednesday. It's Corning, the glass and fiber company.
Wednesday, Walt Disney. That'll be interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting, guys. I am in the chat. Feel free, anybody that's in the chat. I am actively listening to this, but I am into the chat. So any of you guys have any questions as I'm looking over this? You know, I'm just going to be putting up different stock channels, going over different stuff just for entertainment value, but the real value for you guys, the real value I'm trying to bring to you guys is this. If you have any questions on any of my opinions on, you know, trading, if you look at some of my oldest videos are, you know, some of my oldest videos go back to this, what we're talking about now. Long-term, short-term, large cap, medium cap, core wave. We have earnings coming out. And I tell you guys, like, you know, if you have a retirement and, you know, you are investing in companies, it's good to kind of know what companies are coming out and how they're doing. And if not, and if you're not happy, like most people, when they do their retirement, they're paying a manager to do all this for them. But I'm telling you, if you were just to outright own the companies, not in an ETF, not in a mutual fund, just find some of the best companies and just own them. And then cut out the middleman, the amount of money that will build in your retirement is astronomically different. So you're looking at double to triple what your nest egg could become over a course of your life. Because remember, you don't really have to do anything other than buy at certain times of the year, like earnings. AMD, semiconductor. Guys, you know AMD was up like 65% recently. So if you would have put $1,000 in it, right, you'd have made 600 bucks, right? 10,000 would have been 6 grand, and it all scales the same, and that's in a short period. And you don't really have to be that intelligent to do it. You just got to kind of have a game plan, have some rules, know what you're expecting, and just balance a portfolio, man. And I can teach you. I'm here to I've got tools on my screens over here, and I can show you how to do that. 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
I also think we've got a lot of good earnings coming, but don't expect next week to be as good as this one was.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.
All right, what's up, guys? Hey, your Arabian friend. Hey, what's up, brother? How are you? I'm back now. Hey, buddy. Hey, brother. How are you? Very good. Very, very, very good. Very good. I am here. Let me restart this. Very good. We are back. We are back with the attack. Alrighty. There we go. All right. 5 days ago, Bloomberg Live. Let's see what's going on Bloomberg.
Went on to become a partner at Y Combinator, where he mentored startups and co-founded Initialize Capital with Gary Tan, a firm that backed companies like Instacart and Coinbase. But
Instacart, Coinbase, Ukane says rushers are. All right, guys. How are you? We are in the chat. We are in the chat. We are here, guys. We are here. We are here. We are here.
Really difficult environment.
All right.
What's your take?
There's a middle of VC firms that are just, as the kids would say, mid,
Sometimes I wonder if
that are probably going to have a really
this. Sometimes you guys like this side better when I'm just a little bit closer. But I still like the camera right here.
In a business where there are these outsized
All right. All right, guys. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
more and more capital as they clearly are, you know, the big dogs with the
We'll need a little bit more back. Maybe like right there. There we go. Ha! How are you, brother? What is up?
Have a clear value proposition and want to be the best early.
Through 776,
Good to see you again.
companies like Doji, which lets users virtually
How's
try
life?
clothes. Mast, a forest restoration
Let's see here.
Feastables, the snack brand launched by Jimmy Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast, and Monumental Labs, where they're using robots to make stone construction scalable. Today, Ohanian is capturing footage to post to his social media followers. It's part of the 776 playbook. Capital plus megaphone.
All right.
Welcome to Bloomberg This Weekend. I'm David Gura.
I'm Lisa Mateo. And I'm Christina Ruffini. We're tracking breaking news today from Wall Street to Washington.
Very good.
The sector is really propelling this deal forward.
Yeah, the hope is this will open up new markets and provide some additional liquidity.
Of course, now they're going to have competitors.
Here's something fun. Chimaez.
Bad blood has been brewing in the UFC middleweight division.
We were looking at stocks earlier. Good. You must translate the message first. I can't understand. I must? Brother, I'm not going to be able to translate each message every single time.
A bitter rivalry years in the making reaches its boiling point as former training partners turn enemies collide in the main event of UFC 328.
Me and Chimaev are just fundamentally different people.
I'm interested in this fight coming up between Strickland and Chimaez.
Everyone can give the voice, but voice stop when we coming.
One of the most dominant fighters to ever step inside the octagon.
Uncommon among uncommon men. That is Khamzat Chimaev.
Undefeated Chechen Khamzat Chimaev stormed his way to the middleweight title.
There's just different levels of grappling.
Oh my goodness!
And Khamzat is at the highest level.
He has been running through the competition. Khamzat Chimaev is that good!
Now, in his first title defense, Chimaev welcomes the challenge of a familiar foe.
They're going to need extra security for that fight. It's going to be a mad one, because Sean Strickland doesn't hold back.
Former champion Sean Strickland's unique brand of gritty tenacity and unfiltered mental warfare has defined his career.
He just wants to march forward and cause violence.
Massive KO! Anybody know this well, mother?
Strickland applying a world of pressure.
With Chimaev now holding the belt, the time has come for these fierce rivals to settle the score.
You think you're tough, man. We'll see who handles deep water better. You're gonna drown.
Sean's all over him. And that's it. There it is. Sean Strickland.
Everyone has his chance to try, but it's not gonna work with me.
Oh, he's caught. And the kick it.
Because I I'm Hamza Chimaev.
History will be made in the co-main event as two Asian-born fighters contest for a UFC title.
You don't need the flowers for the house or the house. You want to go to the store and get it for my cat, please.
Breakout star of 2025.
What?
Looks to begin a new era.
I have no idea what that
His
means.
first title defense against a surging Japanese contender. A superstar in Japan. Tatsuro Taira's rapid rise has proven his caliber among the flyweight elite.
There's the tap.
Now
Ohanian went on to become a partner at Y Combinator, where he mentored startups and co-founded Initialize Capital with Gary Tan, a firm that backed companies like Instacart and Coinbase. But Ohanian decided to go it alone, starting his own venture firm, 776.
Oh, Investors Business Daily. This is a great, guys, if you want to learn about stocks, IBD is great.
Pass that test, of course. There weren't winners across the board, but
Investors Business Daily.
mattered to the market definitely provided a boost. You can just see what a or should we be letting
NASDAQ.
our winners have
You can
that
see over here.
room to run. So now that we are in the early stages of a powerful period with the power trend, which we've talked about a couple of different elements, the main one being the action.
You must
above
struggle
the
to get the wrong
21-day,
person
that's
to do it for you,
50-day,
and you will
we
be
looked at
fine with it.
historical periods where these power trends can go on for many months. And so in those conditions, which we are in now, you want to give your winners room to run. And I think if we look at some of the leading stocks from the last couple of weeks, they look like they are in the early stages of making a big move. You combine that with us being in this AI cycle, which a lot of companies, of
You see
course,
it.
discussed in their recent earnings reports.
Right through there.
You have these
Crossing
very, very
up.
favorable conditions,
Mhm.
as Webby was talking.
There now, but they
This
have
is the
that similar
NASDAQ,
type
so
of
the
look, but it
NASDAQ
was
composite.
more horizontal
Interestingly
than
enough,
this. So this is
NASDAQ
showing
follows
even
a
more
lot
power
easy with
than
Bitcoin.
what we've had in our
Guys, if you're in the
historical
chat,
examples. So
we are
you
here
just
breaking
have to-
down.
you can't fight that and say that it's gone too far too fast. And I think a way for people gives you something to trade against. So if you
BlackBerry.
buy it on that day, yeah,
I don't know why
exactly
people
where
would buy
your buy
BlackBerry.
is. You could even do it as it's clearing. It typically happens over 4 to 8 weeks without.
Mhm.
And this is a key that I'm seeing a lot of really bright people online saying.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Fast Market here on Schwab Network. NVIDIA is facing headwinds today after hitting an all-time high earlier this week. The stock has been challenged by other members of the Mag 7, such as Alphabet, Google, which has had a huge run this week. That went up more than 10%. Now, the last time NVIDIA held the line on the $200 level was between late October and early November of 2025. It came back
Right.
to that level in mid-April as the rest of the market rallied back from geopolitical risk. Now, to be
Bulls
fair,
versus
the stock is
Bears.
up about 7% year to date and has even better performance year over year, up more than 75%. Time now for the tug of war on NVIDIA. For that, let's welcome back in our co-hosts Kevin Hinks and Kevin Green. It is Bull versus Bear time. So before we get to your example,
Bulls versus Bears. What you guys think in the chat? NVIDIA bull, a bit of thing. You think they're lying?
I'll start with you. Your take.
Look, I mean, NVIDIA has been basing out and now attempting a
Strongly
breakout.
disagree.
The base has been 7 months, 8 months or so.
Who's lying?
Very wide base there, and now he's trying to make a move to the upside.
Who's
Seeing
lying?
a breakout and then trying to come back and retest a key moving average. I think this company, from a fundamental standpoint, still shows some pretty good strength here when it comes to the industry. This is once again that daily chart. We have a breakout to the upside, coming back, and look where we are at today. Testing the 20-day moving average. We consolidate here, continue to break higher, and you can look at that $227 to $230 level as your next major area of resistance.
That's a moving average convergence. That's an MACD. This is an MACD and an RSI showing you a bounce off the moving averages right through there. I use a similar strategy when I'm trading. Institutional traders tend to like that.
Obviously, they have the technology and the innovation of really trying to outpace the competitors that are out there. They have been able to hold those margins. They continue to have.
So if you look, this is a 3-year weekly chart. So I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, so you see how this shoots up? Now you see how this line would go all the way over here? This is a resistance, support, resistance, right? Support, resistance, consolidation right through here. But this spot marked all the way over through here, push up, pull back right through here, and then we push back up. That big push right here was because of this. You see how people sold right here? You see how this line would be right here? So this point right here is when we did the uptrend. Up, down, up. When we break, remember, supports, resistance becomes, old resistance becomes new support. Okay? Old resistance becomes new support, and old support becomes new resistance. That's how it works. Uh-huh. You like stocks? You like stocks, equities? Also, don't mistake kindness for weakness. You make no sense. Sold Google Translate. It's free. So that makes no sense.
It seems to be working at least for them. So the worst thing that you could see is a breakdown, going back within that channel, and then breaking lower. I think if that does occur, the broader market's also doing a pullback as well. But from a fundamental standpoint, out of sight, out of mind, I think is the best thing for this name. It doesn't really actually react pretty well when it comes to news headlines around this name like it used to in the past. This one's more of a stealth mover, and I think that's probably how Jensen Huang wants to have it, at least for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, Kevin, over at the CBOE, your take on NVIDIA.
You know, NVIDIA is in this AI world, and sometimes
so NVIDIA is down 8% from all-time high. It hit Monday, which makes sense. It makes sense.
Because they think the CapEx may be cut to them, right? And it may be less than that. Listen, here's the thing that's most important, and I know this is more of the fundamentals than the chart, but NVIDIA's getting cheap. And how is it getting cheap? How about compared to AMD?
Woo! Look at that. Look at that chart. Oh, boy. Now, you see this line, 199? Woo-wee!
What's going on here? They are clearly the leader.
Clearly the leader. I agree. NVIDIA is clearly the leader in this market.
Yes, there is.
Woo.
But make no mistake, they are so much cheaper than AMD, who they dominate. And by the way, late 26, early 27, the Vera Rubin chip is going to just increase their lead over these other groups. So I think from a valuation perspective, it's crazy to say this, but NVIDIA is actually getting cheap, Diane.
Interesting. Okay, that's interesting perspective there. Especially, you make a good point with the outperformance we've seen AMD, and AMD has a test next week when it has to deliver its earnings. So let's get into the example trades. KG, let's start out with yours. What's your approach today?
Yeah, I want to kind of highlight, though, AMD also has the CPU space. They have a bigger tangible addressable market in CPUs. That's why they were lagging.
I'm glad.
AI trade. CPUs are now in trend, which is why Intel, as well as AMD, is getting a little bit more love rather than NVIDIA, which does have exposure, but not as much exposure. Look, if we have to do a bull and bear, I'm going to do the bear side here today. I don't mind doing that, even though I think the company fundamentally is looking pretty good. This is going to be an interesting one. It's going to probably make Kev's head explode when he looks at this one. But I'm actually looking at selling a call vertical here. This is actually looking at the May 15th expiration, selling the 190 call, buying the 195 call. These are in the money at this point. Doing this for a credit of $3.60. The max gain that I can actually have on this trade is $360. The max loss is $140 with a break-even point of $193.60. You need this stock to move, and it has to move to the downside in order for this to be profitable. Right now, if it stays where it is at right now, you will realize the max loss. The reason for this type of trade is if you wanted to get a downside look, but you don't want to be fully committed, and you want to put up a little bit of risk, this is a trade that does have a little bit more of a risk-defined structure. You could leverage some of the theta decay in the event that it does move in your direction and it gets closer and closer to expiration. But also, if it does move higher, your max outlay right now is $140. So instead of trying to buy premium, you're looking at selling premium because it's still relatively elevated.
They're looking at the options and they're looking at the delta. So these are called the Greeks, the delta, gamma, theta, and beta. If you're not, if you don't know what the Greeks mean, it's no big deal. But all you have to know is options are quantified into numbers, and they help you gauge volatility and time decay.
So don't worry, you're fine. You haven't done any long-term damage to me. Now, selling an in-the-money call spread is unique, right? Because you're selling something that, remember, a test we always do on this show is what if nothing happens? If nothing happens, similar if you were long
right here,
put vertical, right? You need the stock to move or you lose money. There's the difference between the long vertical and the short in the money vertical are similar in that case. So the risk is defined. You know what you have. You've got a little bit more of a short delta because you're basically selling 190, 195 is two in the money options. It's 360. You can only go to 5. And from a valuation perspective.
Yeah, from an evaluation perspective, I completely agree.
It's crazy to say this, but
from an evaluation perspective, if you look at it, like NVIDIA, I'll show you. NVIDIA. Here's the chart. Compared to like AMD. AMD. NVIDIA. SPY. SPY. And then we got, we're going to call this edit name TTP beta, TTP alpha, TTP alpha. Yeah. Bam. Simple as that. Yeah. Where's in the chat? What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of setting up my charts and kind of playing around with a couple things. We got NVIDIA. We've got the SPY over here. QQQ right here. Well, bam. There we go. QQQ, SPY, add widget, chart. Well, bam. Widget, chart. What you got? Saw chat. Yeah, so essentially anybody that comes into the chat, feel free to ask questions. I am just organizing everything in here. Well, bam. So we got SPY, QQQ, Apple, Amazon there. I'm gonna put a Tesla chart too, because Tesla's one I like to chart. I really like to trade Tesla. Delete a chart? Why? What you mean delete one? I should have plenty of space. I should be able to put 6 on here, at least 8. Telling me I can't put 8 charts on here? I can put 8 charts on here, you bastards. Oh, we'll fit it. Anyways. There you go. There you go. Is there a news feed? There we go. All right, guys. That's how I set up my station. So, thank you, guys. We are going to call that an end for